The Steelers Extra Point Show, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside the KDKA TV studios as the Steelers have now expanded their lead in the AFC North, 10-0 after a 27-3 win. Very methodical, and once again, the Steelers did not play down to the competition. It started slowly, but they flexed their muscles and now have a 4-game lead over the Ravens, who you saw here on our bonus coverage. They lost at home to Tennessee, and the Titans needed it badly. They're now 7-3. Derrick Henry, 133 yards, including the walk-off winner in overtime. We are here. We're going to present to you a lot of interviews from today's game, some analysis, of course, and your calls coming up in a bit. But right now, let's go over to my partner, Hokie Bros 76, Chris Hoke. It wasn't the most beautiful game, but it was a win, and they're 10-0, setting up that big game coming home Thursday night against Baltimore. Hokie?
Absolutely, and start the game, it was uneventful. In the third quarter, it was uneventful, but in the second and fourth quarter, to end out the half and end out the game, the Steelers put it on the Jacksonville Jaguars, scoring 17 points in the second quarter and 10 points to close it out. That's the way you close out halves. And the Steelers went on the road. It's always difficult whether you play a 9-0 team or you play a 1-8 team to win on the road.
Yes, as one of our tweeters said, it was Luton-free today. Jake Luton had a tough time. Any sixth-round pick coming into the league at quarterback who's never played, I mean, he played last week, did better than many people thought, but today, clearly, the Steelers were a mismatch for him. 4 more takeaways for the Steelers, 2 by Terrell Edmunds, 2 interceptions for Minkah Fitzpatrick. That makes 21 on the year. They continue to be the league leaders in takeaways. And this defense, after giving up 3 points on the first drive, again, a little slow start, but they started to figure out with pressure and blitzing that they can get in the face of Jake Luton. And they made it very uncomfortable for him, especially up front with the guys like Tuitt and Hayward on the edge, with Watt and Bud Dupree, who had a 1-arm sack in this game. And the Steelers now have a consecutive game sack record for them. It's up to 67 games in a row with at least 1 sack, and that's 2 off the all-time record set by Tony Dungy's Tampa Bay team back in the early 2000s. So Chris sets up a big game coming up, but I think overall the fact that they did not slip up against a team that they could have, one of those trap games we always talk about, they weren't hearing any of it. And how much of this is focused on the fact that they are undefeated? I know these guys have to know where they are, and they take pride in that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and when they go on the road or when they play a team, like a 1-8 team or any team in the NFL, when you are 10-0, the target's on your back, and teams want to give you their best effort, and that's what the Steelers are going to get from here on out. And Bob, I want to point out, the Steelers play a game 4 days from now against the Baltimore Ravens. And you think back to a month ago or so when the Steelers were playing the Ravens, came off a very physical game against the Titans, and had to come back and play quickly against the Ravens. Now, the Ravens are playing against a very physical Titans team and lost, and have to now come into Heinz Field on a short week after the Steelers went to a win, a pretty easy win down in Jacksonville.
And all of a sudden, the Ravens find themselves in third place in this division. The Browns won today to jump ahead of them. So Baltimore certainly has their work cut out for them just to get into the playoffs. As of the moment, they are in the playoff field, but they're slipping and going in the wrong direction. We have a lot to get into. Mike Tomlin's postgame comments. We're also going to have player interviews and reaction. And there was some big news out of Cincinnati today where their starting quarterback, the new franchise, #1 overall pick, Joe Burrow, had to be carted off the field. We have a lot more talking about that one, and we expect at this point that he is done for the year. That it was an ugly injury to his leg, carried off. You could tell he was emotional about it, and everyone was out there to greet him. So it looks like Joe Burrow's season is over now in Cincinnati, and they really need help on their offensive line. Steelers, though, remain perfect, 10-0, setting up a game against Baltimore. We'll talk about all of this and more when we continue. Final today, 27-3, as Ben Roethlisberger has another good day at the office. So does the run game. And as far as James Conner is concerned, the rest of it not so much. We'll break it all down when we continue live right here on KDKA, your television home for Steelers football.
Devices are like doorways that could allow hackers into your home. And like all doors, they're safer when locked. That's why you need Xfinity XFi. With the XFi Gateway, devices connected to your home's Wi-Fi are protected, which helps keep people outside from accessing your passwords, credit cards, and cameras, and people inside from accidentally visiting sites that aren't secure. And if someone tries, we'll let you know. XFi Advanced Security. If it's connected, it's protected. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $39.99 a month for 12 months. Switch today.
Time to start it up, America. You've got a lot of joy to make. And we're kicking off the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event because you've got turkeys to fry and thanks to give. It's our thing. So we're giving you incredible deals on the Built Ford Tough F-150 and Ford Ranger. That'll make a lot of joy this season. Ford, built for the holidays. Get a 2020 F-150 with a total savings of $9,450 plus $1,000 trade assist cash. Visit a neighborhood Ford store dealer near you today.
This holiday season, my good friend gave to me 7 Powerball tickets, 6 match 6 chances, 5 cash votes, 4 cash for lives, 3 pick 3s, 2 mega millions.
Happy holidays, Rita.
Thanks, Joe.
What a great gift. Pennsylvania lottery tickets make great gifts, like the new Tremendous Winnings.
Happy holidays.
And best wishes from the lottery.
I did some early shopping this year. One for you, one for me.
I love it. I got us a little something too.
Yeah?
Yep. One for you and one for me.
I love it.
Oh, actually, that was supposed to be for me.
I love it.
I like red.
Shop early and pay no interest for 84 months on most 2020 Acadia and Terrain models. Or current eligible lessees can get this low mileage lease on this 2020 Terrain SLE for around $159 per month.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Pompeani, Chris Hoke back with you. 27-3, the Steelers, the only undefeated team in the NFL, and they stay that way. 10 wins, no losses. And we have a lot to get into, including Mike Tomlin's post-game comments. Let's go down to Jacksonville and hear from happy head coach Mike Tomlin.
Man, it's great to go on the road and win, particularly in the AFC. We don't take it for granted. I appreciate all the efforts of all parties involved, players and coaches and support people. We did the job today. We checked the boxes. Wasn't perfect, but nothing's perfect about us except our record. And we talked openly about that last night. We just want to wear it the proper way. We want to step into the stadiums and be prepared to fight and compete every week and understand that we're going to get people's best shot. And so I like the general attitude of the group today. We're able to get the job done, and we'll get ready for our short week, man. We're back in the AFC North in the hot kitchen on Thursday night, and we're honored to do that, to entertain on that special day and to be a part of that. We don't take that for granted as well, but, we got to travel. We got to assess the injuries. We got to put together a plan and get ready in a very short week. And so we got some work ahead of us. On the injury front, Zach Gentry had a significant knee injury in game. I'll have an update on that, I'm sure, for you tomorrow. All the others were minor bumps and bruises associated with play. Even Joe Hayden, he was able to go back into the game after he sustained an injury. But with bumps and bruises on a short week, man, we're not taking anything for granted. So we'll assess those and update you guys appropriately and put together a plan that's focused on the healthy guys. I think that's the appropriate thing to do on a short week. I'll open it up for questions.
Dejan Kovacevic.
Mike, how much has Terrell Edmonds progressed year over year, and in what ways?
He's this guy's logged a bunch of snaps. I think his best ability is availability. When you really look at his career, man, as a young guy, he's logged a bunch of snaps, and over the course of time, he's gained quality experience because of it. And he's taken that experience and continually made himself a better player, really in all areas, man. And run pass recognition. I can't say enough about his run game fits and the way he's playing in that element of the game here in 2020. But largely his game has always been on the upswing because he's a young guy that's diligent and a young guy that's very available. And when you're very available and diligent, man, it's a reasonable thing to expect your play to improve, and his has.
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Mike, were you satisfied with your run game? You got a couple long runs from James Conner today.
I don't know, man. I'll let you guys keep talking about that. It was better today. We'll keep assessing it. We're not going to crack that nut with the first swing. It's going to take continual work and effort on our part to continue to work on our warts, and that's not our only wart. It's just the one that you guys choose to recognize.
Mike Pursuta.
Mike, it looks like you continue to go in different directions week to week. A little bit of change up with the running game today, more sub-package alterations. Are you guys a week-to-week team in terms of how you want to scheme it up?
We just, first and foremost, we got quality players and with different skill sets, and we're committed to utilizing them based on the matchups of the week. And so that allows us to be different first and foremost. But secondly, we've experienced some attrition. We've missed some guys, and some guys have had an opportunity to ascend, and really it's challenged us from a coaching perspective at times to be unique in our approach in an effort to get the best people on the field. So, we don't apologize for that. We're going to do what's required for us to win each and every single game and put our best foot forward on a week-to-week basis. And sometimes that's a little bit different. That causes issues for those we compete against. Great.
Joe Rudder.
Yeah, Mike, what about your approach allowed Diontae Johnson to be open so much and have so many catches?
It's really about what they did. They were probably down some corners, and they played more zone than they did man. And so, it provided an opportunity for volume catches for some, and he happened to be on the receiving end of it today.
Brooke Pryor.
Yeah, Mike, how important was it to come out of this game mostly healthy, given that you guys are on a short week, and to be able to rest a lot of your starters there in the fourth?
We don't have control over health, so we don't spend a lot of time focused or worried about that. We understand this is much a part of the game as blocking and tackling. We respect it, and that's why you got to fortify yourself with a good team. And so that's always our focus, not those that are lost, the preparedness of those who step up. And so we spend our time focused on the preparedness of our young guys in an effort to combat what you mentioned.
Brian Batko.
Yeah, Mike, with Gentry going out early, you guys basically played most of the game with one tight end. Any update on Vance, how he's feeling or anything like that?
None. I'm sure I will have some for you at some point next week.
Mark Caboli.
Hey, Mike, the offense didn't put up a ton of points in that first half, and the defense was allowing some yards. But how important was it for the players to stay patient on both sides, figuring that things would eventually turn around if they stay patient?
This is the National Football League, man. We don't anticipate rolling out of tunnels and people laying down for us. These are going to be competitive games. And so, I don't even know if we have a mentality where we're anticipating what you mentioned. We step out of tunnels ready for a 60-minute fight each and every week.
Jim Colony.
Mike, actually kind of in that vein, and I don't want to use the term, do you hold stuff back? But when you go in against an unknown quarterback, for example, do you tend to, is it a feeling out process before you figure out what the guy's up to, and then you realize, and then you might unleash your defense on him?
No, we just have an unleashed mentality regardless of who we play.
Will Graves.
Mike, when you look at the defensive performances the last 2 weeks, what do you like about it? And today, after that first drive, they basically didn't do much at all. What was sort of the key to shutting them down?
The guys are playing hard and playing fast and collectively well. We're getting turnovers, but I think, the catalyst for it all is that the guys are playing extremely hard and fast. And that's as a collective. And I think that creates the frenzy that provides the wave that we ride.
Ed Bouchette.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned you said it to the team Saturday night, but is there more pressure as you keep winning and you're now 10-0? And how do you relieve that or approach it?
There's pressure in our business. I don't know if you call it more pressure or not. I know regardless of our record, we'd be committed to winning this game that we're walking into play on Thursday night. And so, I just think more that's some outside fodder, that's storylines, if you will, and give you guys something to talk about during the week. We respect our process, and we're going to prepare, and we step in the stadiums and play, and there's urgency to that. There's pressure associated with that, all of the above. But that's the same regardless of record. I'm sure people who are not perfect feel pressure to perform week in and week out.
Time for two more. Anthony Daskulski.
Mike, today was a much more traditional up and down ground game with not much east to west, not a lot of pulling guys. Did that have a lot to do with the lack of tight end depth and losing Gentry, or was this just by design?
We did what we had to do once Zach went out, but I don't know that it had anything to do with what it is that you mentioned.
Final one, Joe Rudder.
Yeah, Mike, you didn't mention anything about Juju and your injuries. Did he get a little nicked up on his leg there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, but I don't think it's anything major, and that's why I just associated with the bumps and bruises associated with play.
All right, that's Mike Tomlin after the game, and not much to say as far as injuries. The one significant one was Zach Gentry. Now that's significant in that Vance McDonald still is not back, although I would expect at this point, after his COVID situation, that he should be back this week, but we don't know that, and we won't find out until Mike Tomlin meets with the media, and we expect that to be again tomorrow on a short week. Chris, I want to ask you about, and this is a guy who is trending upward, and I've liked his season, Terrell Edmunds. And Tomlin says his best ability is his availability. He is out there every single time. He's gotten better. He's only, and the thing that I like best about him, he's 23 years old. I still think he's still learning the position, but he's getting significantly better each and every game.
He's young and he's playing really good football right now, Bobby. Think about how he's played throughout the season. He's not a guy out there making the sexy play. He's not out there making interceptions. Well, until today, where he had 2 interceptions today, one that was on an overthrow, another one's a great play, reading the eyes of Luton, the young quarterback, and making an acrobatic play and taking the ball again for the second time. And he has quietly put together his best season of his young career, and I expect him to continue to play like this for the rest of the season.
And when we come back, you're going to hear from Terrell Edmunds and some other players as well as we continue to roll along in our postgame coverage of a Steelers win to get them at 10-0. And you start thinking about number 1 overall seed in the conference and what comes with that, the only buy available. We have a lot to get into. We will continue right here live on KDKA. 27-3 Steelers get to 10-0. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens, who suddenly are 6-4 and moving in the wrong direction for them. It's all next right here live on KDKA.
This is a game changer. I'm Jason Waller, founder of Power Home Solar. The solar movement is on. It's time to own your power. With our American-made solar panels, we've teamed up with Generac's backup battery system so you can reduce those energy bills and never be without power again. And right now, score big with $2,000 instant cash back. Generac and Power Home Solar, the #1 team in home energy.
Want to sell your Pittsburgh area home faster and for the best price? Then make it RE/MAX Select Realty. RE/MAX Select agents sell up to 3 times as many homes as other agents. That means more buyers searching your neighborhood right now. Call RE/MAX Select today. We'll meet and list your home tomorrow. Plus, get your free RE/MAX market price evaluation. Selling your home is a big decision. Make it RE/MAX Select Realty. See us now at selecthomefinder.com.
This season, Kia's got great deals on our new lineup of vehicles built to help you take on winter. Stop by your local Kia dealer and discover cars and SUVs loaded with advanced tech and safety features, all with our legendary reliability. So this year, you won't just cope with winter. You'll command it. Right now, get 0% APR for 66 months plus $1,000 holiday bonus cash on the purchase of a 2021 Sportage or lease a 2021 Sportage LX all-wheel drive for $189 a month.
Grit, determination, desire to be the best, or as we call it, going to work. But good luck getting the job done without the right tools. You'll need an F-150 with best-in-class payload and plenty of capability to do it right. That's how you become the best-selling trucks in Pittsburgh and the official truck of your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
We're back, and here's what you saw today. The Titans down by 11 points kind of late in that game. They forced overtime, and then they won it on a Derrick Henry walk-off. A long touchdown run to win it 30-24 over the Ravens. They lose. The Browns win, hurt the Eagles' chances on top of their division, which is one of the weakest I've ever seen. And the Washington football team beat the Bengals. But the big story there, Joe Burrow, his season is over. Just a bad look on the field when he got carted off. It was a catastrophic-looking injury, and we have now confirmed that he will be lost for the season. You hate to see that with a young guy with so much talent. Chris, I want to ask you real quick before we go to some sound from the locker room about the run game, because I found it interesting. James Conner, I thought, was running very well today. He ended up with 89 yards, 13 carries, but at halftime, he had an 8.0 average, and yet they continued to use McFarland or Snell or at even times Ray McLeod. Was that by design? Because it looked to me like Connor was the best back today.
Yeah, and I found it interesting because coming into this game, in 9 games, the first 5, the Steelers were in the top 10 in almost every rushing category, and 4 of those 5 games, they rushed for over 100 yards. Then the last 4 games, the Steelers struggled running the ball, only ran the ball over 50 yards once in 4 games. And from my opinion, as you look at that and how the plays unfolded in this game, even though James ran well, I believe the Steelers had a plan of trying to run McFarland a little more, run Snell a little more, maybe thinking that they would bring a spark to this running game, and that was the game plan coming in. So that's the reason why you didn't see Connor starting in the second half and them taking some of those runs away from James Conner.
Conner also was involved with 3 catches in the run game. We're going to hear from him right now. Let's go back to Jacksonville. James Conner in front of the microphone.
It's another opportunity. We weren't down on ourselves. You know, everybody else counted us out. We knew that we had another opportunity to keep growing in the run game and keep, working on things to get it going. And good week of practice. Running hard today. The line was blocking. It was another opportunity.
Jeff Hawthorne, 93.7.
James, can you speak to the defense and their ability to get turnovers and how that helps you out and how you maybe ride that momentum as an offense?
For sure, man. Football, ultimate team game. So for, the defense to create those turnovers and give us a short field and having us take the field when, halfway through. The defense is just playing big, man. They got so much going for them. We just play off of each other.
Brian Batko, Post-Gazette.
James, when you say everybody else counted you guys out in the run game, is that something you're seeing somewhere, reading? Where did that kind of come from?
Everywhere, but got more games left.
Last question, Joe Rutter, Trib.
And it seems like you guys had stuff working out wide where it had been an issue in other games. What was working there?
Say it again, sir.
It seemed like you had some success running wide where that seemed to be an issue the last few games. What was working in that area?
I just got some looks where I could bounce the ball to the outside, try to get one-on-one with those corners. Every game's going to be different. And so with this game, we try to get those one-on-one matchups on the outside, and we were able to get some good games. So just keep it.
James Conner, after 89 yards rushing, pretty healthy average of nearly 8 yards per carry. But Chris, also, he was involved in the pass game. Once again, Ben Roethlisberger distributes the ball, 7 different receivers, and he's a part of that now. How effective can he be moving forward in that aspect of the game?
I think very effective. You look at whenever James gets the ball, he can run with the ball and make people miss. What I loved today was he created a lot of these yards for himself. He talked about the line of scrimmage, but the line of scrimmage wasn't much different largely in this game than it has been the last 4 weeks. He made guys miss. He used a stiff arm effectively. He ran through tackles. I loved how he caught the ball in the screen game as well. He took him for extra yards. So he's a complete player. He ran with a little extra pep in his step today, and it may be because of McFarland's reps and Snell's reps, and he felt slighted a little bit, Bob.
Yeah, sometimes you get that feeling, and you work harder to get back to where you are. I really thought he did a good job ad-libbing when there were some holes available. Yes. McFarland, on the other hand, had holes that were open, and he chose to go in a different direction, so maybe the inexperience is showing there. Meantime, let's talk about Terrell Edmunds, because he had 2 of the 4 turnovers today, 4 interceptions on the Steelers. We're going to listen to what he has to say from Jacksonville after a very successful day for this defense, which limited Jacksonville to just 3 points.
Really just trying to help the team out the best way I can. The first one was an overthrown ball. Tips and overthrows as a DB, that's what you're asking for. And then the second one was just playing my zone, made a nice drop, and just tried to help the team out the best way I could.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Yeah, Terrell, how important is it for you guys to have the momentum off the last 2 games going into this big game against Baltimore on Thursday? And how important is it to be mostly healthy on a short week like this?
Man, honestly, we're just excited. Yes, we have the momentum going into it, but it's a divisional game. It's a rivalry game. We're already excited. We're already prepared. And we feel like we just got to go out there and play our game. So I just keep on working throughout this week, get all the minor injuries intact, and then let's go out and win the game.
Jerry Dulac, Post-Gazette.
Terrell, anything different after they went down the field and kicked the field goal on the opening drive? You basically shut them down after that.
We just got to start off faster, I'd say. Just limit their time of the possession at the beginning of the game, get the ball to our offense as soon as possible, and then let our offense get into their rhythm and keep everything rolling. And as a defense, we just got to come out and play our game from the first play to the last play.
Last question, Alex Fleming, Florida Sun. Alex Fleming, Florida Sun. Please, can you unmute yourself? Okay. Mike Prizzuta, DVE.
Terrell, I don't know if you heard the Ravens lost again today. Does that get your attention at all?
It definitely gets our attention for the long haul, but right now we just got to focus on 1-0 because we know they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. They're coming off a loss, so we got to come out and play our game because we know they're going to try to knock us down now, so we just got to come out and play how we play.
Terrell Edmonds, 2 interceptions. Minkah Fitzpatrick had a big one as well. Actually 2, but the one was a 40-yard return. And I thought that was the significant part of this game, Chris, because it was a 10-3 game. Jacksonville, for what limited offense they had, they were driving. They were in the red zone. They were looking at a game-tying touchdown. All of a sudden, Tyson Alualu with a little tip. Had to feel good against his former team, right into the hands of Minkah Fitzpatrick, 40 yards the other way, and that sets up a touchdown that made it 17-3 by Snell, even though there were some big conversions on third down by Diontae Johnson. That, to me, was the turning point of the game.
That was a huge play in this game. Like you said, 10-3 in this game, and the Steelers' defense they were on their heels up to this point, and it was going to be 10-10, I believe, if Minkah wouldn't have intercepted that tip ball. Look over the last 3 games. 2 of the last 3 games, the Steelers were down against the Cowboys, 19-15. They were down, and Minkah Fitzpatrick intercepted the ball in the end zone. And then today, again, another interception, 10-3, intercepts the ball, brings it back 40 yards. These are game-changing plays that Minkah's making on the back end, Bob.
Yeah, he has a nose for the football. There's no question. Anytime there's something available, you find number 39 looking after it. You're going to hear from Minkah Fitzpatrick coming up. We also have comments from Diontae Johnson, who was targeted 16 times today, and quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. It's all yet to come right here live on KDKA TV as we roll along following the Steelers' 10th straight win, 27-3. We'll also be taking your calls a little later here in this broadcast, so hang with us live on KDKA. This is The Extra Point.
Devices are like doorways that could allow hackers into your home. And like all doors, they're safer when locked. That's why you need Xfinity XFi. With the XFi Gateway, devices connected to your home's Wi-Fi are protected, which helps keep people outside from accessing your passwords, credit cards, and cameras, and people inside from accidentally visiting sites that aren't secure. And if someone tries, we'll let you know. XFi Advanced Security. If it's connected, it's protected. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $39.99 a month for 12 months. Switch today.
We're Steelers. We take what nature provides. We work in what others can't handle. We put it through extremes others can't imagine. And we create something extraordinary. Then we share it with others so they can make their own amazing. Now, Steelers are partnering again, working to bring remarkable to the next generation so they too can be extraordinary.
Your healthcare matters more than ever. We're seeing patients safely in person at our locations, by phone and video visit. Get your care back on schedule. UPMC, life-changing medicine.
It's Chevy Truck Month. It's Deck Building Month. It's Toy Hauling Month. It's Explore New Ground Month. It's the month to get things done. Make it your own and make every month Chevy Truck Month.
Get $4,500 cash allowance on all 2020 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab pickups. Or now during Truck Month, current qualified lessees can lease this Silverado All-Star for around $299 a month.
You don't choose to need healthcare, but you can choose UPMC. By phone, video, or safely at one of our locations. Get your care back on schedule. UPMC, life-changing medicine.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Well, the extra point should be called the exclamation point today, Chris, because there was a lot of good to talk about. And right now, I know you want to recap some of those big numbers from today's win.
There's a lot to talk about, Bob. And Bob, let's take a look at the final stats brought to you by JP Roofing. And really, the Steelers dominated in this department. First downs, 23-14. 9 more first downs in this game. The rushing game much improved for the Steelers today. And James Conner, he ran for 13 for 89 yards, 6.8 average, but the team ran for 106 yards. Passing, again, almost doubled the yardage of the Jacksonville Jaguars with 267 yards. Penalties is what hurt the Jacksonville Jaguars today. They gave up several pass interferences, 2 of them to Chase Claypool that moved the ball deep down the field. Turnovers. The Steelers opportunistic, leading the NFL with 21 takeaways in this season, with 4 today. 2 interceptions by Minkah Fitzpatrick and by Terrell Edmonds, and a time of possession. Hey, when you're holding teams and taking the ball away from them and dominating on third down, you're going to dominate like this, getting 13 more minutes in the time of possession than the Jaguars.
Steelers have really done a good job in their last 6 games. 13 takeaways, 18 sacks, and they've held their opposition to less than 30% on third down. Last week was 0 for 13 against the Bengals. So when you do that, you're going to be in very good position, and they are. And then when you have an offense that's going to score at least 24 every single week, which has been the case this week in the NFL, they did it again today with 27, and the man who engineered it is speaking right now. Let's hear from Ben Roethlisberger.
They threw some looks at us, and they're a good defense, and we didn't do enough.
Jerry Dulac.
Ben, another game where you're throwing a lot of passes in games where you're leading. Do you feel, is it kind of what they were doing? Did you feel you needed to do that? What was going on there?
Yeah, they just gave us some looks where we felt we could have, we need to throw the ball. We got behind the chains too much. We had too many second and third and longs, and that kind of put us in some tough situations. But we overcame some and didn't overcome enough.
Mike Pursuta.
And I think that Claypool touchdown was that group 4 receivers and Ebron again that we've been talking about. What's the confidence level that you can go to that when you need it and do what you need to do?
Well, we feel confident in that. We feel that we've got a lot of looks. We've got a lot of different ways that we can move guys around and put them in different spots. And like I said, I have to give those guys a lot of credit because we put them in different spots and they just respond and they do what they're supposed to do and they make plays. So the kudos goes to the skill guys in that.
Brooke Pryor.
In the last couple of weeks, the starters have been able to come out early in the fourth quarter. How important was that today, especially going in to play the Ravens on a short week? And how much momentum do you feel like you guys have at this point?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get out for a few plays, it's a good thing. So at the end of games, if we can come out and let guys come in and finish it off, that's a good feeling. So we know what this week is.
Ed Bouchette.
Ben, because you're 10-0, people are going to be speculating now on a perfect season. How do you alleviate that pressure if there is some?
Just focus on 1 week at a time, and that's what this team's done. We're not. And I said it this week. We're not chasing perfection in terms of 16-0. We're chasing the Lombardis, and so that's the most important thing for us is we just have to focus on this week and playing our best 1 week at a time.
Joe Rudder.
And this is the first time you've ever gone 3 games without being sacked. What does it mean to have that kind of protection?
It feels good. I mean, I believe in those guys up front, and they've gone against some really good defenses, some good D-lines, some crazy blitzes and different things. So I love those guys to death, and I wouldn't want anybody else in front of me.
Brian Batko.
All right, that's Ben Roethlisberger after the game. And Chris, I want to ask you this because Ben Roethlisberger does a very good job of looking off safeties. He will make guys stay in the middle of the field, and he did that on the touchdown pass to Chase Claypool too, where you're not sure which way to go. You're the last line of defense. He did that last week on a couple of plays where he looks one way and he knows he's going the other way, and that safety is caught in no man's land.
Yeah, I think Ben's playing better than he's played in a number of years, maybe his whole career. I know he's throwing the ball deep down the field better than he has in years past, but what's going on right now is Ben's pump fake and his ability to look off safeties is better than he's ever done. And right now he's throwing that out route and it's going up, and he got those double moves and he's throwing those touchdowns, and then he has the ability to manipulate the pocket and step up and make throws down the field. So I think right now he's playing at his best.
And his favorite target today was Diontae Johnson, who was targeted 16 times, and he made 12 receptions for 111 yards. We're going to hear from him coming up as we continue. This is the exclamation point, I guess we should call it. Steelers are 10-0, looking potentially for a perfect season. We're going to talk about that, I'm sure, on our Sports Call show, which follows this. Back with Diontae Johnson, live on KDKA right after this short timeout.
We're open, so you don't need to put your healthcare on hold. We're open to see you for in-person appointments. Open with extensive precautions for patient and staff safety. And open with rigorous cleaning and disinfecting at all locations. From emergency departments to primary care offices, we're open and can see you now. UPMC, life-changing medicine.
Time to start it up, America. You've got a lot of joy to make. And we're kicking off the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event because you've got turkeys to fry and thanks to give. It's our thing. So we're giving you incredible deals on the Built Ford Tough F-150 and Ford Ranger. That'll make a lot of joy this season. Ford, built for the holidays. Get a 2020 F-150 with a total savings of $9,450 plus $1,000 trade assist cash. Visit a neighborhood Ford store dealer near you today.
Tractor trailers are some of the most dangerous vehicles on the road. There are federal rules for load sizes, driver's hours, and maintenance for a reason. When big rigs don't follow these rules, entire families can be torn apart. We have the talent and the resources to take on these large companies. Hopefully, through our work, families are being helped and trucking companies are getting the message about safety.
Bordis and Bordis, proud partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know this all looks very Hollywood, but guess what? This is a Nissan sales event ad. Sales event ads are usually boring. Is this boring? Ooh, nice. This Altima has intelligent all-wheel drive, unlike that Accord behind me. Ooh, we're going rogue now.
Now's the best time to get a great deal on a Nissan.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
Welcome back. Bob Pompeani, Chris Hoke with you. And as you heard, we talked about the offense and the numbers it put up, but also the time of possession, which was key. And a lot of that was underneath passing, conversions on third downs, and Diontae Johnson had a big role in that as well. 12 receptions, over 100 yards. He's speaking right now.
Because we got guys, like you said, that can make plays or whatnot all across the field. I mean, we just a special group, and we take everything serious. We like to make each other better. If we see something wrong, we're going to tell them about it so they can correct it the next play or whatnot. But I feel very confident because we got a quarterback that knows what he's doing back there, and he's been back there for a long time. So we trust him to put us in the right positions, and we're going to make plays from him.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Yeah, Diontae, it looks like your connection with Ben over the last 2 weeks has been really strong. Has anything changed there? What's helping that? And do you feel like he's having an MVP caliber season?
Really, it's just him really just trusting me and just being in the right spot. I mean, because we talk about that all the time in practice, just being in the right spot. And he going to put the ball where it need to be. And we just got to make a play on it. MVP, I would say yeah, in my opinion, because that's my quarterback, and I'm all in with him. And I hope he win it. Even if he's running up for it or not, I hope he win it regardless, because that's my quarterback.
Jerry Dulac, Post-Gazette.
Hey, Diontae, going into the game, I mean, did you have any idea you would be targeted that many times, or did it just kind of work out that way? And talking about those 2 catches on that scoring drive, especially that bobble down by the goal line, did you recall?
I never really know when the ball's coming to me at certain plays or whatnot, but I really just go out there and play my game. And if the ball's thrown my way, I'm try to make a play for Ben and get the team in the right field position or whatnot. Like I said, on those 2 plays, it's just me getting open, doing what I do or whatnot, and just making the play at the end of the day. Ben's putting the ball where it needs to be, so I'm trying to capitalize on everything.
Last
question. That was a juggling, acrobatic catch there at the end zone. I thought he actually got into the end zone, set up a 1-yard touchdown by Benny Snell, but a beautiful job by Diontae Johnson. And he's right, some of those passes are out before he makes his turn. We saw that with Claypool. You saw it with James Washington. Those guys know. Ben Roethlisberger, man, you got to be on your game. That ball could be there as you make your cut, and we saw that there. Meantime, we talked about the defense. Minkah Fitzpatrick, along with Terrell Edmonds, outstanding today. Minkah led this team with 5 tackles in addition to his 2 interceptions, and he is speaking now.
I think it's, where everybody that lines up across from you is a talented, paid professional, and you have to treat them, as such. You can't look at somebody because they have injuries or, their record as less than them. They're talented players. Jacksonville's a very talented team. They have weapons that can hurt you. And you have to treat them, as such. You can't prepare, as if they're 1-8. You have to prepare as if you want to be 1-0. So I think that's just the mentality we have week to week.
Will Graves, AP.
Minkah, you look over the last couple of weeks. I mean, you guys have won in pretty dominant fashion defensively. Is this, you get the sense you guys are starting to sort of really kind of get it, or is there still more to work on?
No, there's definitely still more to work on. It's week 10, so we're a little bit more fluid in what we're doing. Guys are more understanding of scheme and schematics and who they're playing with. There's two teams that we should beat like that. We're a very talented team. I think we should have won those games like that.
Ed Bouchette, The Athletic.
Minkah, now that you're 10-0, people outside are going to be talking and speculating whether you can go 16-0. Do you guys talk about it? Is it the elephant in the room? Do you ignore it?
We don't talk about it at all. The media and everybody else will talk about it, but I think Ben, said it before. We're not worried about 16-0. We're worried about 1-0. You have a great team in Baltimore on Thursday, and they're looking to knock us off. You're ready to beat them one time, and I think to come and give us their A++ game. We got to go out there and play 1-0. Because when you start thinking too much about the future, you just stop preparing the way that you're supposed to be preparing. Do what you're supposed to be doing.
Dale Lally, DK.
Minkah, when the ball's tipped in the air like that, does everything slow down for you? Is it just kind of like, okay, that's my ball, and you can just feel like you're going to get there?
It speeds up. You gotta speed up and go get the ball, because there's probably 3 or 4 other people in the area that's trying to go get it. If you get a good break, you just gotta go get it. But it definitely doesn't slow down. You definitely speed up a sense of just your sense of urgency getting to the ball.
Okay, thank you so much, Minkah.
And he's like a hawk going after that ball. When he sees it up in the air, man, he's always around it. And I thought he had sights on maybe going the other way for a pick six, a long distance as it was. That turned the game around. The Steelers converted that turnover into a touchdown to lead 17-3, and that was pretty much game, set, and match. Chris, I want to ask you about the pressure that the Steelers apply. They only got 2 sacks, but they also hit the quarterback 9 different times, and that's a young quarterback who hasn't seen that kind of pressure. How effective were they in that department?
Well, I know everybody loves to see sacks, and that's how they get counted, and that's into the year. They look at how they get contracts, and coaches get paid as well. But just as effectively is hitting the quarterback, is allowing him to feel that pressure, because then he makes those errant throws. And so even though the Steelers only got 2 sacks today, TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, they were all over Jake Luton and made him throw those errant passes.
Yeah, I thought up front all those guys did well. It's good to see Tyson Alualu in there, Hilton returning, and as this defense gets, hopefully healthy all the way down the stretch, you can start talking about what Ed Bouchette brought up, which was a undefeated season. Although the number one thing they got to do now is kind of take an opportunity to put the Ravens way back if they can to drop them to 6-5. But they're going to be highly motivated because they know they are slipping and going in the wrong direction. We have plenty more coming up on that. We'll get into that game moving forward when we take your calls, because there are some scenarios out there that make you wonder about the number 1 seed overall. I'm going to draw that up for you. But Chris, if you're in that locker room, 16-0. You've been on some really good teams that have, you haven't had necessarily this situation to deal with, but if you were in there, what do you think these guys are talking about? They obviously know where they are. They know they're undefeated, and they know they're 6 games away from history.
They obviously know where they're at, and you heard 2 individuals on the team there talk about 1-0. They're looking week to week, and they are not looking beyond the next game, because that's when you fall into these games and you lose. What's happening is you're having reporters, you're having the local media ask these questions. How many times do you hear the local guys ask about 16-0? That's when it's being brought up. I can guarantee you that Coach Tomlin, when he's meeting with the team, when Coach Butler is meeting with the defense, and Coach Finkner is meeting with the offense, they are not talking about 16-0. They are talking about the next game and staying singularly focused on what's in front of them.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, can they go 16-0? You're not in the locker room anymore. No.
I absolutely they believe they can. The way they're playing, the way that Ben's throwing the football, and the rapport now that he has with these receivers, the way the defense is coming up with these turnovers at the most important times in games, I think they have an opportunity to run the table, but they can't think about that right now.
Yeah, but the other thing that's working for them is they may have to do that to keep Kansas City away from getting the number 1 seed. I'm going to talk about their schedule coming up and what lies ahead. We'll do all of that with more your way right here on KDKA. This is the Extra Point following a big win for the Steelers on the road. Another conference win, which is always important, 27-3 to go 10-0. We'll be back with more right here on the Extra Point.
Time
Time to start it up, America. You've got a lot of joy to make. And we're kicking off the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event because you've got turkeys to fry and thanks to give. It's our thing. So we're giving you incredible deals on the Built Ford Top F-150 and Ford Ranger. That'll make a lot of joy this season. Ford, built for the holidays. Returning lessees can get a 2020 F-150 for just $299 a month for 24 months. Visit a neighborhood Ford store dealer near you today.
May your holidays glow bright and all your dreams take flight. Lease the 2021 GLB 250 4MATIC SUV for just $469 a month at the Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Hurry in today.
Time to start it up, America. You've got a lot of joy to make. And we're kicking off the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event because you've got turkeys to fry and thanks to give. It's our thing. So we're giving you incredible deals on the Built Ford Top F-150 and Ford Ranger. That'll make a lot of joy this season. Ford, built for the holidays. Returning lessees can get a 2020 F-150 for just $299 a month for 24 months. Visit a neighborhood Ford store dealer near you today.
The sale of the century continues at Century 3 Kia. Pay just $157 a month on new Kia Souls, only $179 a month on new Niros, or only $185 a month on new K5s. At Century 3 Kia, Pittsburgh's Kia Connection.
Enjoy!
Enjoy a new bakery sweet paired with an any size premium roast coffee for just $3. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back to Steelers Extra Point, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store.
We are back. Steelers 10-0, looking to go 11-0. 2 games in 5 days, a short week. But on the other end of that is kind of a bye week that they didn't have because of what happened in Tennessee earlier. I think that will bode well for this team as they move into the final 5 games. But what's ahead for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Chris Hoke, tell us.
Well, what's ahead? I'll tell you, Bob. What's ahead brought to you by the Ford Neighborhood Store. And what we're looking at right now is the Steelers this Thursday on Thanksgiving night. They are playing the Baltimore Ravens. They are now 6-4 going into this game. And they lost today 30-24 on that walk-off that we saw here on CBS. And then you look at the following week, the Washington football team. They won today against the Cincinnati Bengals 20-9, and they are 3-7. Looks like that might be a game that Steelers can get prepared for. The Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills are on their bye week today. They're 7-3, and they play the Chargers next week. And then 4 weeks from now, the Cincinnati Bengals. And today just took a devastating loss with Joe Burrow. They're 2-7-1. They lost 20-9 to the Washington football team. And that's the next 4 weeks, Bob. You look at it, you've got a tough game, and then you've got an easier game and another tough game coming up back to back to back.
Well, also remember this about Washington. You know, they're 3-7. They can still win their division because the Eagles lost in Cleveland today, and I think they fall to 3-6-1 or whatever it is. That is a wild, terrible division, but you can still win a division with that sort of record. Real quick, Chris, before we go to our call-in show, which is next, Kansas City, you know, again, the pursuit here is for the number 1 seed. You're 10-0, 6 left. You can get that. There's only 1 bye available, so the Steelers desperately want it. Kansas City's schedule, they have the Raiders tonight, but listen to this. They have a game against Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and Miami. And Miami right now is trending upward. Yep. And they're going to be a playoff team this year. So the easier schedule goes to the Steelers.
It does. But the Steelers do still have 2 tough games, and you're playing teams now when you're 10-0, and if you're undefeated going into the future games, you're going to have a target on your back, and teams want to come in and knock you off. So they're going to play against teams that are going to be a little more inspired, I believe, than the teams that are going to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. But it looks to me right there on the surface that the Kansas City Chiefs have a tougher schedule down the stretch.
They certainly do. And on that note, we're going to wrap up our program here. And when we come back, we're going to open it up to your phone calls. It's a special Steeler edition of the Sports Call. So join us for that. All you have to do is call us at 412-575-2600. You can also tweet us at KDPomp, at HokeyBros76. We want to hear from you. Next, right here live on KDKA, Steelers 10-0, 27-3. What do you think? And what do you look ahead at the Ravens game? Like to hear what you have to say about that. All here on KDKA.